Hello. Welcome back to the channel. It's that time again. It's another product research demonstration video. We know that you guys love these, so we thought, let's give the people what they want and let's do another one. Now, in this tutorial video, I am going to be using the black box tool from Helium 10. It's a tool that we freaking love. We use it more or less every day or whenever we do one of these demonstrations. Last time I used the keywords feature within black box, but this time I'm going to be using the products feature, and I'll explain the difference in just a sec. If you don't know what Helium 10 is, it is basically a suite of tools aimed at new and existing Amazon FBA sellers, or people just not selling at all but are interested in doing so. And for us, it is essential. Anyone that is planning on selling on Amazon needs to learn how to use these tools. Now, black box in its easiest description would be a bit like Google, except instead of you being shown websites, you're going to be shown products that are on Amazon that meet the criteria that you set. Now, in my last tutorial video that I did, I focused on the keywords tab, and that basically showed me search terms that Amazon customers are using in order to find products, which you can use to give yourself clues on up and coming niches. But this time we're going to be sticking with the products tab. So instead of us being shown search terms, we're going to be shown products. You can change this, to your heart's content. Just have fun and play around with it. But I'll be showing you how to use the products tab. So whenever you load this tool up, and FYI, there is a discount link in the description box below. Whenever you load Helium 10 up, you'll need to go into Tools and then go into Black Box and then make sure Products is selected. The next thing you want to do is make sure that the marketplace that you're intending on selling in is selected. So if you are in the UK, you don't necessarily have to sell in the UK, but a lot of people do. You would click that. If you're in Germany and you want to sell in the US, you click the US and so on, right? The US is the biggest marketplace. It has the most opportunities for sure, but competition is a little bit higher in various niches. And in a lot of cases, because that demand level is higher, you do also need a higher starting budget. We normally recommend for US sellers around 7,500 upwards, whereas like the UK, you can start selling with a much lower budget of say 3,000. But we are going to stick with Amazon US. We're going to make sure that advanced is ticked here. Just gives you more filters to play around with. And let's now dive in, shall we? So, category and subcategory. We say this quite frequently. You can sell in pretty much any category you want. Some are less beginner friendly than others. So, for example, within health, if I can find it, health and household, you'll find like supplements and other products that you have to get approval to sell. Electronics, some of those ones you also have to get approval and so on. So, if you want to kind of start your research in the easiest manner, the categories that I would probably take a look at in the first instance would be baby products, beauty and personal care. Some of those are gated, it's called, where you need to get approval, but not all. We can come on to that if we find any. Books I would ignore. Typically, we do private label on this channel, so building your own brand, selling your own products, it's going to be hard with books unless you're a best-selling author. Camera and photo I'd leave. CD and vinyl, same, and same with cell phones, clothing. So all for different reasons, not particularly beginner friendly. Let's have a look. Collectible coins, no. Let's also do health and household, and then home and kitchen. Kitchen and dining you could also do. I mean, to be honest, with a lot of these, you can kind of use your own common sense. If you think, movies and TV, is that something that I can create myself in terms of a product? Probably not. So pet supplies you could do as well. I might as well just finish this, hadn't I? Sports and outdoors. Toys and games. Now, that is an interesting one. You can sell in that niche, but in the fourth quarter of the year, so September to December, you have to get approval because it's Christmas time. So if you are going to be looking at that, just make sure that it's not near that time of the year. So we've got those categories. Next, let's have a look. Price point. So, again, there's no hard, fast rule with this. We typically like to say go for the higher price point, so above $20 or so. Once you start getting to, like $12 and below, it just means that the absolute amount of profit per unit you're going to be making is going to be quite marginal, especially with increasing fees and so on. So it might not really be worthwhile. So let's just stick with, should we go $25? And, max, to be honest, I'm not really fussed about. Let's just keep that open. Another filter that I typically like to play with is the review rating. And the reason for that is when we are looking to launch a product on Amazon and sell our own branded product. We want to make sure that we're offering something that is better than the competition. It's an improved offer. So the easiest way, or the quickest way of being able to assess whether a niche has got lots of improvement opportunities is by looking at what customers say. If they're all saying this product sucks, it never works, etc., then you know that there's room for a new product to come in that is high quality and has better features and so on, right? So review rating, I only want to see the products that are priced $25 and more that have a max review rating of 4.5. So it means there has been some negative reviews in there, and there's going to be an opportunity for us to check out what customers are saying. The next big one, and don't forget, as I say, you can fill all these out, just play around with it. But the next essential one I would say is monthly revenue. So this ties directly to your starting budget, right? Do not be putting in here $100,000. I want to see products making $100,000. Don't put that in unless you've got a very healthy budget, right? If you launched in a niche where everyone was doing 100K a month and you only have $5,000, for example, what's going to happen is you'll launch the product. You'll probably find it very expensive when it comes to advertising because there's a lot of sellers out there that are making huge amounts, significant amounts of profit. And you'll also find that you just run out of stock very quickly. And what happens when you run out of stock is Amazon punishes you. They don't like to see people not being able to offer their customers their products all year round. So you might climb to the front page in the search result rankings. As soon as you go out of stock for a long period of time, you'll get pushed to the back and you just have to keep restarting and not making any profit. So our kind of high level rule for this is whatever budget you have, times it by 4. And that should be the maximum revenue that you should be looking for in any niche if you want to be able to afford it and not keep running out of stock. So let's just say, for example, we have got $10,000 investment to put into stock. Therefore, the max I want to see is 40,000. Now, there are lots of different ways of assessing this. And to be honest, none of them are going to be finger on the pulse exactly. It is just an approximation, right? We've got a couple of different ways that we use to kind of look at the different monthly revenue amounts, but that's the one we're going to go with today. Okay. So 40,000. Next, we want to see, so monthly sales I'm not going to play around with because we've got price and we've got revenue in there. So it's kind of implied. Another big one that I like to typically put in is this number of images. So if we can say to Helium 10, show me products in this category that are making $40,000 a month that have a maximum of 5 images, right? Then that again is possibly indicating that the niche that we're going to be shown is not quite optimized because Amazon allows its sellers to upload 7 images on mobile and 9 images on desktop. And if the sellers are only offering 5 images and they're making 40K a month, then that could imply that there's a bit of an opportunity there. Now, sorry, I was just thinking as well with the monthly revenue, we've got 40,000 max. We obviously do want to put a minimum in as well. Otherwise, we're going to be just seeing really low volume products. So let's put in $25,000 revenue. Okay. Play around with that. There's no hard set rule, but we're going to go with that 25,000 to 40,000 today. Now, for the other filters, I'm not going to adjust those yet. Let's just have a look at what the results show. So you press search, and what will then happen is Helium 10 very quickly will search pretty much every single product on Amazon within the US and show you everything that meets your criteria. So you can see now it's pulled 500 different products that all meet the criteria here above that we put in. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're shown. So the first one is, it looks, if you move your mouse over it, it will show you. So it looks like a supplement with over 50 fruits and veggies within it. Now, supplements is something that is gaining a lot of attention at the moment, particularly with like US based sellers, whatever, because it's subscribe and save, it's repetitive orders, it's very attractive niche to go into. Human supplements do need you to submit various documents to get approval for. By all means, you can consider that and look into it. But just for the purposes of this tutorial video, I'm going to skip products like that. I just kind of think that it's probably going to put me down a rabbit hole where there's a lot of competition, particularly in human supplements. So I'm going to skip that one. The next one is an ergonomic office chair. Now, this one is the kind of things that I'm thinking about at the moment are, okay, so this one's priced at $210. It's making the seller $40,000 a month. The only thing that is kind of putting me off a little bit in the back of my mind is the size of it. It's going to be heavy. The fulfillment charges are going to be quite high, and the shipping fees will too. But having said that, despite high FBA fees, that price point is quite attractive. It's $210. So as a proportion of the selling price, the FBA fees are going to be quite low. So you know what? Let's have a little deeper dive into it. So all you would do is click the picture like that, and it's going to load the actual listing itself. So let's have a quick look, and these are the steps that you want to be following whenever you click onto one of these listings, right? So the first thing I would do is just take a quick look kind of at the branding, at the images, and just see, if this person's making 30, 40K a month, is it because they've got a very good listing or what? So if I kind of have a look at the second one here, I mean, straight away, I'm kind of thinking that looks awful. So swing freely to work with fun. Uh, you know, I'm not a betting person. I'm not gonna put a bet on this, but I would, if I was, I'd be willing to bet that this is a Chinese brand where they just don't really know, what they're doing. So swing freely to work with fun. It doesn't make sense. The image editing there also looks, pretty terrible. The blues kind of clashing. Adaptive backrest for comfortable shoulder and vertebra. Should be vertebrae for more possible posture. Okay. Alarm bells going off in my head. Good ones saying I could definitely do better than that. Let's have a look what else we've got. Tailored support and pressure release. Like, okay, so we've got spelling mistakes. There's no branding here. It just looks like a very poor job. 4D adjustable armrest. What does that even mean? And so on. And they've only got 5 images. And those guys were doing 30 or 40K. So we've kind of assessed that this person's listing quality, it's poor. It's a poor sounding brand name, Holoddle. And let's have a look. The bullet points are kind of written in poor English. Let's have a look at the listing itself. Support you always. So terrible there. Okay, the listing, again, it's still not getting any better, is it? So these are just very quick checks that I would be doing. It only takes you like a minute or so to have a quick scan down. If from that first scan, you're kind of like, okay, I think I could do a better job here. The next step is to seeing how the rest of the niche looks, okay? So that you can check how competitors are doing, not just from a listing perspective, but also from a demand perspective. There's 3 rules that every single product that you assess needs to be judged on, right? The first is demand. Is there actual sufficient sales demand? Helium 10 has showed us this product, and we know that it's doing 40K a month, but it can't just apply to one product in the niche. We need to be seeing it, in my view, from at least 5 different sellers. So that's the first piece of criteria. The second piece of criteria is that it's going to be profitable to sell. So although there might be tons of demand, are we able to make a profit here? That's number 2. And number 3 is, are we able to do anything to stand out from the crowd, improve upon the functionality, improve upon how the product looks, and so on. So far, we've just kind of done a very high level estimate of we'd be able to improve upon how the listing looks, not the product. So the next step that you would do is you need to search for the product itself to see how its competitors are faring. So I would say that the best search term that customers use for this type of product is this ergonomic office chair. So we're going to copy it. We're going to come to the top here in the search bar. We're going to change it to all departments, and then we are going to press search. And now what we want to be seeing when the results load is we want to be seeing products that mimic the one that we were just looking at. Okay, so we've just looked at, we've just loaded the results, sorry. So now the next step we're going to do, after we've verified that, yep, indeed, all of these listings are the product we're looking for, is we're going to run Helium 10's X-ray tool. And that basically gives you a nice bird's eye view of the niche that you've just searched for on Amazon in terms of how the price points vary, how the sales demand varies, how the reviews are spread, and so on. All really essential information that you need to look at when you're doing your product research. Now, just because I do have so much experience with this, I'm kind of erring on the side of this probably isn't the right product for us. And that's because on the homepage there, I saw, lots of standard chairs that where the reviews actually looked okay. There was lots of sales. There was a high amount of review counts as well, which sometimes can indicate saturation. And I'm also just kind of thinking, how many ways are there to improve upon a chair, But that's just my hunch. I would always recommend doing these additional checks regardless. Okay. But it always pays to kind of go into your product research, being a little bit skeptical rather than being like, sweet, there's demand. Okay. So Helium 10's loaded. Always, you need to go into filters when the Helium 10 X-ray loads and press hide sponsored products from results. That means that people that are paying for ads that are dotted around all over the search pages, they're removed. Okay. The reason that we want to remove them is because they're not there all the time, right? So it doesn't paint a fair picture of the niche and the demand. Right. So straight away, I know now that this is not the niche for us. And why? Because look at this demand here. We've got 200,000 and 280,000, 170. We have got someone doing 11K, but everybody else is in the hundreds and thousands, even a million here, right? That means that if we, little old me, tries to launch a product with, say, a 10K investment, it's just not going to work. We're going to be paying fortunes in advertising cost, and we're going to sell out quickly if we do manage to sell out and get onto page one. And these guys, the big boys, are just going to take any search page position that we do get. Typically with these type of niches where the demand is huge, also known as kind of sexy niches, like gaming chair and so on. Typically, it is dominated by big, experienced businesses that have got deep pockets that really don't mind plowing it into advertising, product customization, and so on, right? So for that reason, I'm going to park this idea. And hopefully I've made it clear just now as to why. So it's no biggie though, because we're only on idea number 2. So we've got espresso machine. So that is something I am choosing to avoid. It's $1,900. And even if it wasn't, espresso machines are dominated by big brands, aren't they? You've got Sage if you are in the UK, Breville if you're in the US, you've got Nespresso and so on. Typically, you don't want to be in a niche where you are competing with these huge brands that, again, have got, deep pockets. Let's have a look what else we've got. So ideally, we're looking for products that we can add our own spin on and that we can brand, that people kind of care about the branding aspect. So we have got some bed sheets. So no, we don't want something like that. I want to stay away from anything that is a product that's a little bit subjective. So people might order it and say, oh, actually, I don't like the design of that. It looks a bit different. Let's keep going. What about a baby carrier with a hip seat? So let's have a look at that. So this one sells for $47. It's doing 40K a month. The brand name is Mommy Deal. Okay, so I'm kind of already thinking that name sucks. I've just seen quite a funny brand name there, Bootylicious. Anyway, distracted there. Let's have a look, and let's now just follow those same steps again. So remember, very quickly, let's just take a look at how the listing is doing. So there's only 5 pictures there. Breathable air fabric. Let's have a look at the others. I mean, the picture quality is okay, but it's not particularly compelling, is it? It's just kind of being quite descriptive. So it's saying how to carry the baby. It's saying, the different angles that you can do. Removable hip seat. Oh, that's kind of neat. But yeah, it's not amazing. Now, this product, or this niche rather, I would say is pretty good if you're looking to build your own brand, because with passion products, as I call them, products where people are buying it for something to do with something they're passionate about, so their children, a hobby, and so on, people are typically willing to pay a little bit more for quality. Okay, so when it comes to listing quality and so on, it really does matter, and it helps you to stand out from the crowd a lot. So Mommy Deal is $47. The pictures, I would just say, are kind of like average. I definitely think we could do better. There's no branding on any of the images at all. So not reinforcing that branding side rather. So I'm kind of thinking, with our listing, we could be really honing in on our branding, saying we're a US brand started by a young mum that kind of thought there was no different product on the market, and so on. The bullet points, safe and easy to put on, baby hip seat, fits newborn to toddler. They're kind of just very descriptive of the features. We like to hone in on the benefits, like how is this product going to benefit the customer? What problems is it going to solve? So again, something that I think I could easily beat. And then would you look at that? It doesn't look like they even have a description. So there you go. And you've also got some very strange looking review images, somebody talking to a skeleton, which is completely normal to post, isn't it? In a review. I don't even think it had the product on there. But anyway, the kind of listing quality there, it's apart from that top bit, is quite poor, is lacking. So a little bit of a tick there. We've just done that quickly to see, is this someone we could beat? So let's now go to the next step and search for the niche. So baby carrier with hip seat. Now this is an interesting one because I'm not actually sure what the best keyword to use is for this type of product. So what I'm going to do now is teach you how to do that. And why is it important? It's important because we want to have the search results in front of us be as accurate as possible when it comes to the product that we're looking to assess. We don't want there to be top sellers out there that aren't appearing in the search results because we've not used the right keyword, right? We want to have that bird's eye view of the entire niche so we know exactly what kind of budget we really need to be, we really need to have in order to compete effectively. So I'm just going to go with baby carrier with hip seat. I don't think that is going to be the right keyword. So we're going to go to all departments at the top. We're then going to paste in baby carrier with hip seat. And what we're now going to do is run Helium 10 again. And we're now going to go to X-ray. And rather than just looking at the results that load, instead of doing that, we're going to look at where it says search volume in the top left. So you can actually see here that this keyword has got 4,274 searches a month for baby carrier with hip seat. That is more than I thought it would be, but I still want to double check if it's the right keyword to be using. So what you would do is you would come down and you would find a listing that most resembles the product that we want to sell, right? So we've got this one here. It's selling 4,000 a month and it's safely certified hip seat baby carrier. So this is what you do. You click onto it and you can see these guys have actually got quite a well-optimized listing here. I mean, this could even be patented, couldn't it? Because it's seen on Shark Tank. But I'm going to show you the steps to follow anyway. So you scroll down, and as soon as you get that Helium 10 Chrome extension, what is going to happen is you're going to get a new section adding just below your main image. Okay, so you can see the section that's just loaded here. This is the Helium 10 add-on that you get as soon as you get the Chrome extension. And what you want to do is click keywords where it says here. And what this will now load up is Helium 10's Cerebro tool, which is a really clever tool that looks at the listing that you just loaded and tells you all of the search terms that it's appearing for in the Amazon search results. And this is really helpful because it's going to quickly tell us whether the keyword that we're searching for, or the one that we've just used, is actually the most relevant or not. So it's loaded up automatically here. It's already pulled the keywords for us. We don't need to do anything else. The only thing we need to amend in filters is to change this organic rank. So we'll change that to be between 1 and 20. So that means we only want to see the keywords where this listing appears in position 1 to 20. Because if it's doing that, then the keyword is probably super relevant. So we then scroll down. We've got 480 keywords. We now need to order those in search volume from high to low. So we do that, and here we go. Look at this. Wow. Tush Baby is the number one. That is the name of the brand. That straight away is a big flag for me, red flag, that basically says that a lot of customers know about this brand and they're searching for it. That is going to be our goal in the long run, right? And because of that huge amount of volume there, it probably means that this is a niche where people want Tush Baby. They don't want anything else, or it's patented. I mean, to be honest, it's got Mum's Choice Award and it's seen on Shark Tank, which is like Dragon's Den if you're in the UK. But let's just pretend, just for the sake of this tutorial, that we hadn't seen that. The next one would be toddler carrier. Okay, that is the most popular search term rather than that baby one, which is interesting. So I guess it's kind of, maybe actually thinking about it, the first product that I saw, which was the baby carrier, I think it's a slightly different one, isn't it? So maybe that one wasn't the best one for us to look at. Let's look at this one here. This is why it really is important to do all these checks, because I do think that one now that I'm more familiar with it, and I should know this because I recently had a little boy, uh, is actually a different product. So let's just repeat the steps again now that we know that that was the wrong product to look at. So we've got baby carrier, clues in the title this time. This person's doing 500 a month. Let's scroll down to the Helium 10 tool that's going to load the extension, and then we'll press keywords. Okay, so the extension there has loaded. Same steps as before. We're going to go into keywords, and we're going to wait for that to load. And then just like before, we're going to change those filters. So for organic rank, we're going to change it to say position 1 to 20. It just means that the results are going to be highly relevant. And hopefully this time, we're not going to see a ton of branded keyword searches, branded search terms. Yeah, that's the right word, isn't it? Okie doke. So organic rank, we want to do 1 to 20. We're going to press apply filters. Let that load, and then same steps as before. Honestly, guys, the more you do this, it'll just become second nature. 107 keywords this time. Order it in search volume high to low. Let's have a look. So this time, wow, we've got Tush Baby again, but these guys are appearing. What position are they in? Am I just blind here, or is it not actually on? It might be. Okay, search gone. Organic rank. Yeah, I don't know if it's. Oh, here we go. Scroll to the right. Organic rank. So these guys rank position 13. So again, so the Tush Baby search volume is super high. Baby hip carrier, at last, that is the keyword. Okay, so you want to ignore any branded terms. Don't ignore as in don't write it off, but I mean don't use that for the search term, and just find the most relevant one. So we've got baby carrier with hip seat. It's going to be baby hip carrier, isn't it? I mean, that's the one that I think most likely resembles the product that we went for. And then here you go. You've got something that very closely resembles the one that we had. It was more of a hip seat, wasn't it? But yeah, it's kind of looking the same. I mean, these things are so versatile, clearly. Anyway, this is the right search term, right? We finally got there. Again, it does still look a little bit tiny different, but it's a baby carrier. Let's have a look now at the sales demand. We are getting there slowly. As someone that's been doing this for 5-6 years, it never gets to the point where you're just hitting out holes in one all the time. There's always going to be some kind of thing thrown into the mix. Now, whilst that loads, I kind of can see Tush Baby again. They're doing 4,000 sales a month. So I do have a sneaking suspicion that this is not going to be another niche that we are able to launch in. Search volumes sky high. Remember, same stats as before. We want to take out sponsored product results, hide those, and then let's have a look now. So we've got H Kai, who's doing 241,000, Tush Baby 360. So again, this is a niche that is dominated by some big players. Now you can see further down that are people doing that kind of revenue amount that we initially said to Helium 10, so between 30 and 40,000. Now, if Tush Baby and any other big names, so or maybe H Kai or whatever, if they weren't there, I would be looking at this niche now and going, okay, the demand is roughly 20 to 40,000. If I've got that 10 to 15,000 budget, then this is something that I think I could look at in more detail. However, Tush Baby is clearly a big brand name within this type of niche. So because of that, I'm going to park it and leave it. Okay. Let's do one more idea. And again, it's going to be following the same steps as before. So one of the things that you can do to kind of lower these down, lower the results down, is use the exclude keywords filter. So I can see a couple of things here. We've got like bedding or sheets again. So what I'm going to do, and this is something I'd say you definitely should do too, is go into edit filters, and where it says exclude, we've got exclude brands, exclude brand search. Here we go, exclude title keywords. We want to put sheets in there, sheet, bedding. We don't want to see anything to do with that. And maybe let's put clothing, clothes, okay? What I'm also going to do is I'm going to play around with the filters a bit more just to kind of see something, hopefully lower the results down to something a bit more sensible. So let's do price point of 40, 25 to $40. And let's have a look at what else we can do. So review rating, I think I'm going to lead that one. Shipping size, let's do small, standard, and large. As I say, guys, there's honestly no hard set rule with this. Title keywords, no. Number of sellers, no. We don't want to play around with that for the time being. And then let's apply filters. One of the reasons that in the last video I kind of liked the keywords one is because it assesses the niche as a whole when it comes to revenue, whereas the products one is just assessing a single product. So it can take a little bit more time using this products tab, but it can also give you a lot wider variety of ideas for you to dive into. So let's have a look at this one. What about this? So chicken wrapped rawhide bones for small dogs. So these guys are making $30,000 a month on $29. It's not a product that's going to be seasonal. And I'm thinking, okay, that's probably the type of niche that you could source locally within the US. And it's something maybe that gives you a little bit of an upper hand versus maybe Chinese sellers or something. So let's take a look. The branding is by Pawant. Those look vile, don't they? But I suppose they should do. And again, the images here are kind of just pretty descriptive. Fresh, delicious, and nutritious. Okay, I'm guessing this hasn't been written by an English speaker. Let's have a quick look. So we've got description, bullets that looks, pretty much subpar. Again, just descriptive. And then the actual description itself, which from a quick glance also looks quite poor. So far, I'm thinking I could probably beat these guys. So let's now go to the keyword, which, again, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Dog treats is very, very broad. We want to probably, dive into that a bit deeper. Let's have a look at, maybe it's rawhide bones. Or actually, this is a good one. So what about dog treats for small dogs? Let's try that. And then we're just going to have to dive into the best keyword again. It's never easy, is it, on these live sessions? So dog treats for small dog, chicken for small dog. That is highly likely to not be giving the right answer. Those do look very different, don't they? I think I know why. I think it's raw. I think I need to have the rawhide bones. So let's just go into that rawhide bones because we want to assess that niche and see if the demand is any good or not. So let's scroll up. We've got all departments. We're going to do search rawhide bones for small dogs. There we go. That looks a lot more like what we were looking at, doesn't it? And now let's do the checks again. So the first thing we want to do is just make sure that we've used the right keyword. So we're going to run Helium 10's X-ray tool, and we're going to have a look at the keyword volume. Okay, so we can see that Helium 10 is loaded, and here is a big indicator that we've used the wrong search term, right? It says NA. If it says that, you've definitely used the wrong search term, especially if you can see demand within the niche. So what I would be doing is, again, the same steps, always the same, clicking through to one of the listings. It looks like this one here. So it's like a knotted bone. Jungle Calling. I don't know if that's a big brand name or not, but this one certainly looks like a better listing than the one we had before. We're going to scroll down, wait for Helium 10 to load up again, and then we're going to press the keywords button, and then we're going to change the filters within Cerebro. So we'll then scroll down, and same as before, order with search volume, and let's have a look. We'll just widen this so we can actually see it. So Jungle Calling soft dog treats, that was the name of the brand. Chicken wrapped rawhide. Okay, so the volume's actually super low here, isn't it? It's interesting. I've never even heard of this term before. Rawhide. It does look like the same type of product. Dog treats. Maybe it is just dog treats that is dog treats chicken wrapped rawhide. Okay, so we do have actually products that look exactly like that now, don't we? Which is what we wanted before. Let's run helium 10 and just kind of take a quick goosey at the amount of demand in it. Just remember those, we wanted to do those 3 checks, aren't we? The demand, the profitability, and being able to differentiate and do something different. So helium 10 is very good at allowing us to do all of those basically. But in this video, we're just going to be assessing the demand aspect, which of course is the most important. It doesn't matter how profitable the product is or how good your idea is. If there's no demand for it on Amazon, it ain't going to sell. So filters, we are going to hide sponsored products from results, and then let's take a look. Oh wow, okay, so this is another really big niche, it seems, with some big players. However, it's not all doom and gloom. So Pet and Shake, they have, looks like a huge stronghold on this niche, as does Montesun. But outside of that, and Good and Fun, we've got quite a few brands here that are doing in the area of revenue that would suit our budget. So when you see niches like that, definitely approach them with caution. But it doesn't mean that you can't compete. Just because these guys here at the top, are taking a huge amount, that could indicate that they've got a big brand following. But there's also quite a substantial amount of other people that are still doing okay. Right, you've got this Jungle Calling, you've got Poor Want. I think that was the one we found originally doing 10k, and so on. Right, so I know it's kind of difficult to understand what to do in these cases, but it's not just something you can look at immediately and be like, write it off, right? If we found that these guys were doing 300k, these were doing 150, and everyone else was doing nothing, that's when I would be a little bit concerned. But there's actually still quite a few guys doing a decent amount. So the next step that I would now be doing after this is taking a look at all the listings, looking at the quality of them. That first step that we did with that initial listing that we found earlier. So this one here, not this one, sorry. This one here, Poor Want. I would be looking through all these listings and just kind of assessing whether it was something I could improve upon. Right, if it comes down to the quality, the listing, the branding, and so on. Let's just have a quick look at what people might be saying about these products here. So it looks like there are Chinese sellers that are selling this. So again, that's something I think that you could differentiate yourselves a little by saying US based or whatnot. Passionate about dogs or a dog lover. Let's just have a look at what the reviews say, because this is always like a really good way of understanding whether there's many improvement points. So if we scroll down, we do have a lot of people that are loving them. And let's see what this is something I do as a customer. I've just gone through most recent. I just want to see if anyone's left any negative reviews recently first before I just look at purely 1 star, because if it has, it indicates they've got like a quality control issue, and that could be a good time to pounce. Okay, so the listings look okay. I mean, somewhat hate it when people give bad reviews for not lasting a long time. That's down to your dog. Okay, let's go to the 1 star reviews and let's see. So maybe it is just down to how long they last. Half the side of the pack, these are like crack, but making the dog sick. Not the same. Looks like a dodgy shipment, something. Manufacturer changed the recipe. So, there you go. There's a couple of opportunities there to stand out. You could be US sourced with the highest quality meat. We give you X amount in a pack, lasts your dog, this amount of time. Let's have a look at another one just to kind of really assess. This Montesun looks like they're the main seller, apart from that other big one. So they're doing 6,000 a month at $17. They are a Chinese listing. So again, I think we could easily make ourselves look way more attractive than these guys. Practical measure value. Yeah, there you go. So terrible listing. It's interesting how they've got so many sales. I'm going to show you a little trick to understand where their sales are coming from in a moment. But let's just look at their bad reviews. So this is one method that you can follow. You can just click onto 1 star and take a look at what it says. Smells like it came from Wuhan market, made in China. Okay, bam, there you go. So it proves, doesn't it, that if we can source these things in the US, or if they're in Europe, in the UK, wherever, we've got an immediate opportunity to stand out, right? Montesun, I mean, clues in the name there, isn't it? I can really see how people might not want to give this. Like, who knows where this meat came from? But I'm interested to know why these guys, or how these guys are selling so many. It might just be because they're selling them, cheaply in terms of how many per unit. But what you would do if you want to understand where these guys are getting their sales from, like what keywords or whether it's branded search or what, it's just that step that we did in part 1, which is running Helium 10. You've got to love Helium 10, haven't you? And press the keywords button. And then again, just change the organic ranking. Whilst I'm on this page now, I'm just going to quickly show you how to calculate the profit. Really easy. You go into profitability calculator. You find a supplier for these type of products. So I'm sure there will probably be producers of these rawhide in the US, which you can find on Thomasnet, on Google, and so on. There's many supplier websites, but let's have a look. So $17, you've got the fees that fills out automatically. The only one that you would need to change when you're kind of doing this quick and dirty estimate is this unit manufacturing cost. And you need to update that. But it's taking an approximation here. I would never actually believe that. Always try and find suppliers first and email them and ask for the pricing. But on their approximation, it is looking a little bit thin, isn't it? And I do sometimes find that Helium 10 are a little bit generous on the manufacturing cost estimate. If that fell below 30%, I'd probably be thinking twice about this niche, or double thinking anyway. But so far, ignoring that, there's quite a few plus points. Subscribe and save, you're going to be getting recurring revenue, a good opportunity to differentiate from the fact that you're sourcing from the US. But like I say, I'm just super intrigued to find out how these guys get their sales. So let's just change organic rank to 1 to 24. We're going to press apply and let's have a look. Search volume, we're going to change again from low to high. I'm hoping that I don't see lots of branded search because I'd be surprised at that. There you go, just rawhide. So maybe that was the search term all along. Let's click into that. So Pete, this listing, it looks like it is as well. Oh no, it looks slightly different, doesn't it? But this listing here, it's not getting any branded search. It's all from people just on Amazon. And you can see rawhide bones, chicken sticks, dog treats. It's all got a little bit of volume for. And if we scroll down and move to the right, the organic ranking for it, position 16, 23. But okay, that is really interesting. So the reason I'm finding this interesting is because these guys are selling a fortune in numbers every single month, but their organic rank position, so the position that they fall on naturally, is not that high for these big search terms. Let's have a look at why at 1 to 5 maybe. The reason that this is interesting, guys, is because they're just getting so many sales, and if we can't figure out why or what search terms it's coming from, it must be coming externally. So maybe they're doing a lot of external marketing, maybe on TikTok or whatnot. So their search ranking, they only appear on positions 1 to 5, which is, where you're going to be getting a lot of sales from, for like low volume terms. So what I would be doing next is checking out whether they have a presence on Instagram, TikTok, or what, because that to me doesn't really make that much sense. They're doing 150k worth of revenue every month, and they're not ranking highly for any search terms. Very interesting. But this is a niche that I would certainly be diving into deeper. The quality sucks. The listing's awful. They're getting it from Wuhan market, apparently, according to some of the reviews. There you go. Look at that. Ingredient quality out of 5, 3.8, 3.9. So lots of tick marks there. So the next stage on this would be seeing if you could source suppliers, trying to understand where these guys, if they are doing external marketing or not, whether that is a threat. We did search before, didn't we? And we saw lots of other sellers were out there who weren't doing those huge numbers, but were doing okay. So I do think this is a niche that certainly warrants further investigation. So the next step, you want to be calculating profitability and then looking into how you could stand out. My view is US-based listing and brand, really going to town on the high quality, feeding your dog the best and so on. Passion product. People love their pets. They want to pay, decent amounts for high quality. So yeah, that was a great session. We went through a couple of rubbish products, didn't we? But we got there in the end at something that was worth investigating further. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you do want us to do product research sessions that maybe focus more on calculating profitability or using another method, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, Have a great rest of your day and see you soon.